I call the member for Shellharbour.
Thank you, Speaker. I also acknowledge those friends in the gallery. Welcome to the New South Wales Parliament. Speaker, like my colleagues before me today, I stand to oppose the Retail Trading Amendment Boxing Day Bill of 2017. This bill is just another shameful attempt by this government to cuddle up to the big end of town and push down workers by taking Boxing Day away from them. First, Speaker, it was slashing school funding, then it was gutting our TAFE, and now this government is slashing away at your Boxing Day as well. Speaker, now this government has the trial of Boxing Day trading tucked well and truly under its belt. They are ready to make Boxing Day trading a permanent reality. They do not care about the workers who would like to spend Boxing Day with their family and friends. They do not care about the workers who would like to travel away from home to visit family and friends and relax. They do not care about the mums and dads who spend so much time working throughout the rest of the year who just want to spend 2 consecutive days with their kids. Speaker, to add insult to injury, workers will not be earning the same amount of money due to the cuts to public holiday penalty rates. And to make things worse, this bill means that businesses can essentially force workers into doing shifts on Boxing Day. The Allan report suggested that any attempt to legislate Boxing Day trading should include specific safeguards for employees to ensure that they would not be coerced into working on Boxing Day if they did not want to. But the report's recommendations included mandatory minimum financial penalties for businesses that coerce their workers to do shifts on Boxing Day, and these financial penalties would have been a very important step in making sure that those bosses do not take advantage of those workers and that employees do not feel that they have to work on Boxing Day. Yet this government scrapped that idea. If this government was serious about protecting workers from employer coercion, they would have adopted Professor Allan's recommendation about the financial penalty clauses in the bill that is before us. But of course they haven't, because they are no friend of the workers. Speaker, instead this government has deemed them too serious. And what isn't serious about having workers be protected from their employers when many of them do not know that they are not obliged to even work on Boxing Day? This is just another example of this government not caring about anyone except deepening the pockets of big bosses and not caring about the workers who already do not have enough time to spend with their family and their friends. Speaker, having strong financial penalties for employers that force their workers to come in on Boxing Day is especially important because, as it stands, most bosses do not even know that workers can only sign up to shifts on Boxing Day voluntarily. In fact, the Allan review found that at least half of the store managers or owners do not know that by coercing an employee to work on Boxing Day is illegal. I imagine that many workers would also not know that they can't be forced to work on Boxing Day. So why would this government leave out these important provisions to ensure employees are protected from the coercive influence of bosses and managers? This is purely shameful. Once again, this is a government that just wants to work for the big end of town at the peril of everybody else. Speaker, in his second reading speech, the Treasurer got up here and he sung the praises of the Allan report, saying it was an excellent report, yet at the very least, if the Treasurer really wants Boxing Day trading to go ahead, then he needs to make sure that the appropriate safeguards are in place. As it stands, this bill... $1 million he took from the Melbourne Freeway.
Order.
As it stands, this bill, not to any other reason, but this government could not care less about the people that it will actually affect, and that is the workers. Speaker, Boxing Day, very much like Christmas Day and the lead up to it, is a very holy time for many in our community.
Where's it mentioned in the Bible?
And
where's Boxing Day in the Bible?
It still is a very holy time, and it is one in which it is a period of time over many days that is sacrosanct to many families, and mine included. Boxing Day has always been a time of rest and a day to enjoy with family and friends after the busyness of Christmas Day. There are only 2 days a year when everybody can spend time together. They can travel, they can just take some time out. And I don't want families to be told that they can't get together on Boxing Day because they've got to go to work thanks to this government. I'd like to see you, Minister, work on Boxing Day in some retail store. Yeah, we'll go and do it again this year and see how you like it, Bob.
Shellharbour will direct her
For
comments
years,
to the
no
chair,
one has had, for
and the
years,
Minister will
Speaker, no one had
follow
an issue with waiting for the big sales on the 27th of December. It wasn't an issue for anybody. Everybody could rest, everybody could spend time with family on Boxing Day, and everyone could get up bright and early on the 27th and go to catch the post-Christmas sales. I'm going to take the interjection from the Minister because I have for very many years, in fact all my working life, Speaker, stood up and advocated for working men and women in this country. I'm a former union advocate and I will always support the men and the women. And at the end of the day, Speaker, it is only the union movement and Labor that ever will protect workers, and that lot opposite are only interested, as we've seen with the workers' compensation legislation, only interested in the big end of town, looking after insurance companies and big business. For years, no one had an issue with waiting for these big sales. As I said, everyone could rest and spend time with their family on Boxing Day, and they could get up bright and early on the 27th, and if they wanted to go and get a bargain, well then they could. That was always there for them. With this bill, this government isn't really giving people a choice. Whether they want to work on Boxing Day or not, they are going to have to do it. And in the eyes of this government, it won't matter whether they put their hand up to work on Boxing Day or are told that they have to work by their boss. The Treasurer may say that there are financial penalties in place, but who's going to enforce them? Who's going to enforce them? Nobody. Yeah, I bet. So you will you? You'll enforce them.
The member for Shellharbour will ignore the interjections and address her comments through the chair. The Minister will cease interjecting. Member for Shellharbour.
Speaker, I actually want to take that interjection. I want to make sure that it is on Hansard because the Minister has just said that he will make sure that these penalties are, and he said he will, they're enforced. And if they are enforced, Speaker, are they really going to be enough of a penalty to ensure that employers don't keep coercing employees to work on Boxing Day year after year? Don't be fooled. This government will say that this bill gives retailers a choice to open on Boxing Day. But it isn't about that. If this government was so concerned about giving people a choice to work on Boxing Day, they would have put adequate safeguards protecting workers from employer coercion into this bill, but they have not. On this side of the House, we know that Boxing Day is a time to relax and spend with family, not go to work. We will stand up against this disgraceful erosion of what is an important public holiday by this government. We have seen once again that this government holds nothing dear. They are happy to sell off, slash and push a wrecking ball through this state at any opportunity and every opportunity. Now that they are coming after your public holidays, I'd hate to think of what's coming next, Speaker. This government is certainly the Grinch that has stolen Christmas, and I will definitely not be supporting this bill.